All right, here we go. I'm writing the word unit, but I'm stopping right here. Uni is a root word. It means one. I believe it comes from like ancient Greek language. Unit, one, like the United States of America. We are united together as one country. Anything that has uni in it means one. Unit fractions. Quick lesson. It'll go along with the lesson you have at school. So uni means one. So I'm going to put a bunch of ones. One. 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 I'm going to put a bunch of fraction bars. That's what that line is called. Remember? Fraction bar, fraction bar, fraction bar. So now we know we're talking about parts. Parts. We're not talking about whole things. We're not talking about whole pizzas or whole cookies or whole brownies or whole puzzles or whole carton of eggs or whole anything. We're talking about parts. Now, if you're comparing fractions and they all have a 1 on the top, so it kind of looks like a 7, and they all have a 1 on the top, that doesn't help us in comparing because that tells us that we only have one of them. And they all have 1, so that's the same. It looks like they're equal. But what if I had a 2? No, I'm going to put a 1 under here. What did we learn in our last lesson? That when the top and the bottom match, that means you have 1 hole. So I'm going to draw 1 whole pizza. These are not pizzas. I'm going to fill it in. Obviously, they're circles or kind of ovals. I'm trying to do a quick circle. You have to pretend that I did it right. So I'll try to match up their sizes. I'm going to put a 2 over here. That does not mean we have 2 pizzas. I can't do this. No. That means that I have 1. I'm just going to call them pizzas because I'm hungry. Yeah, I have a 1 that's like the same as this one. So here's 1 and here's 1 and they're equal. If I cut them in half, now I have 2. 1, 2. Those are equal. 1 out of 1. 2 out of 2. They are equal. But they're not going to be equal for long because I only have 1 of them shaded in. I'm going to tell you some stories that go with this picture. My friend and I bought a pizza and she ate half and I get the other half. Mine is left in the box. I cut my cookie in half and my friend ate hers and I'm still holding on to mine. I still have my half. So when you see a 2 at the bottom, they say half. So I can't have equal signs anymore because they don't match. I have to change the numerator. Remember, the numerator is the number on the top. Here's my fraction bar. I only have 1 out of the 2. I don't know where the other one went. It's not there. So the question is, how many are black or shaded in? 1 out of 1, or the whole thing is black. 1 out of the 2 is shaded, or 1 out of 2, or we say 1 half. They use the word half. So over here, I'm going to put a 3. So now does not mean I have 3 pizzas. Remember that? Means I have one that's just, they look the same, but this number here tells me how many pieces to put it in. Oh, those don't look even at all. Oh, brother. Here's one, here's one, here's one. 3 out of 3 are white. But not for long, because I only want to shade in one. It's not a very good circle at all. Okay. In fact, so I have to change this 3. And here's the question. How many are shaded in? 1. How do I read that like a sentence? 1 out of 3 is shaded in. 1 out of 3. If those are pieces of a cookie or a pizza, there's only 1 out of the 3 left. In fact, I'm going to get rid of these lines because I want you to really look at these. Just the shaded part. What do you notice about the size? Anyone notice anything? Which one's bigger? This one? If that was a piece of pizza, do you want that one or do you want this one? I want this one. It's bigger. If you get a choice between this piece and this piece, which one do you want? I'll take the one whole pizza. Yep. See you later. I'm going to take that home. Eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And snack. This pizza's yummy. So this one's bigger. This one's smaller. Now, we're going to do some comparing and contrasting. So we're going to use these symbols. I think you remember them. You used them on whole numbers, but I'm going to use them on fractions. So if I'm just looking at these pictures, I'm going, well, this one's bigger, so that's greater than this one. And this half is greater than this one. Yeah. Now, so let's take and let's look at these fractions. 1 over 1 is greater than 1/2, and that is greater than 1/3. So we just proved, now, without looking at these pieces anymore, because we've already talked about them, I really want to talk about what's going on here, or here. We just did a lot of work to put in our compare and contrast. I'm going to take off these so they don't look like 7s. All right, so those are gone. It's always nice to show you different numeral ones, because there's lots of them, different ways to write it. So here's 1 over 1. 1 out of 1 is greater than 1 out of 2, is greater than 1 out of 3. 1 out of 1 is 1 whole, is greater than 1/2, and greater than 1/3. So we don't have the pictures anymore. We've already thought about those, and we don't need to see the picture. But I want you to stare at these, because there's a trick to comparing fractions. If I was just comparing, so there's the fractions up there. If I was comparing a 1 and a 2 and a 3, like if these are jelly beans, blue sour jelly beans, there's 3 over there, there's 2, and there's 1. Well, which group is bigger? Which one has more? This group, or this group? So now we would be using this. We would say 3 is greater than 2, or 2 is less than 3. 2 is greater than 1. Remember, I'm going to do the teeth. Some teachers try to tell kids, like, the mouth goes to the bigger amount. The bigger amount. And so you've learned how to do this. You're comparing and deciding what's bigger, greater than, less than. You've been doing this with whole numbers. What do you notice about this? This 1, is greater than 2. 1 is not greater than 2. 1 is less than 2 for whole numbers. It's opposite for fractions. See how the mouth is pointing to the big number. Well, in fractions, in unit fractions, when they all have a 1 on the top, you ignore the 1 on the top, and the mouth goes towards the little number. The little number means how many cuts, how many did you have, how many pieces did you have in the whole thing. The more pieces we cut, 1, 2, 3, the smaller they get. I'm putting the pictures back up, some really sloppy version of it, but that's okay. So it's the opposite. The lesson, the thing I want you to remember, it's